Recently, a graphic advertising a protest advocating non-libertarian principles was posted on the official Libertarian Party of Colorado Facebook page. The graphic was up for a short time before it came to my attention, and I removed it immediately. The person who posted it is no longer an administrator on the official LPCO Facebook page and can no longer post on that page. That access was revoked. While the graphic was up only a short time, someone screenshotted it and shared it on social media. Otherwise, the mistake would have been handled internally. The post was a mistake. It was immediately rectified. The person who posted it on our page can no longer post. The Libertarian Party does not advocate for the initiation of force. The non-aggression principle is at the core of the libertarian philosophy. We apologize for the post and unequivocally disavow it. Hubo un meme en la página de Facebook del Partido Libertario de Colorado. Este gráfico que estaba promoviendo principios no libertarios fue removido inmediatamente. La persona que lo puso ya no tiene privilegios administrativos en la página. Fue un error grave y tomamos toda la responsabilidad por ese error. El Partido Libertario de Colorado no es abogado de la iniciación de fuerza. El principio de no agresión está en el centro de nuestra filosofía libertaria. Y pedimos perdón por esta propaganda y la rechazamos inequivocadamente. We, the members of the Libertarian Party, challenge the cult of the omnipotent state and defend the rights of the individual. We hold that all the individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and have the right to live in whatever manner they choose, so long as they do not forcibly interfere with the equal right of others to live in whatever manner they choose. Governments throughout history have regularly operated on the opposite principle, that the state has the right to dispose of the lives of individuals and the fruits of their labor. Even within the United States, all political parties other than our own grant government the right to regulate the lives of individuals and seize the fruits of their labor without their consent. We, on the contrary, deny the right of any government to do these things and hold that where governments exist, they must not violate the rights of any individual, namely the right to life. Accordingly, we support the prohibition of the initiation of physical force against others, the right to liberty of speech and action, and accordingly, we oppose all attempts by government to abridge the freedom of speech and press, as well as government censorship of any form, and the right to property. Accordingly, we oppose all government interference with private property, such as confiscation, nationalization, and eminent domain, and support the prohibition of robbery, trespass, fraud, and misrepresentation. There is more to our statement and principles. I will stop at that point. We had an amazing national convention recently where we had very big wins. One of them, our vice chair, received 28 votes from Colorado, saying that Colorado believes in him. And another very big win for Colorado was the re-election of the LNC secretary, Ms. Karen Ann Harlows, who is present here. Ms. Harlows has also agreed to do a training with our communications volunteers on best practices and what should and should not be on a page. If there's any questions by the media at the moment, I'd be glad to answer any questions. If there are no questions, we will start with our board meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming and for your participation. We have a quorum. We have received the resignation letter of Mr. Matthew DiGianardo. I will read that when it comes to the campaigns director's spot. Has everyone read the agenda? Or is there any opposition to the agenda? There is one change I would like to make. On the review of outreach director applications, we found that 3 of the people who applied did not qualify to be outreach director as they are not members of the Libertarian Party. The 4th, Mr. McCoven, is present, and we will hear from him during public commentary, if that works for you guys. We have present here Jim Wiley on Zoom from letterspeak.org. Mike, would you unmute him, please?
Sorry, who?
Who can't get into the Zoom meeting? It's going on.
Who do you want me to unmute?
Jim Wiley.
Hey everybody. Thanks so much for inviting me, Victoria.
You're welcome. Can everybody hear him okay? Go ahead.
Just wanted to give you guys some information about the upcoming convoy protest that's going to be taking place on August the 8th. It's happening all across the nation, and the idea is we're trying to get past the mainstream media blockout of any information related to the Libertarian Party or to Joe. And we want to get her name out there and for the debates to let her speak. We're going to raise awareness about the injustice with the debate system and how the 2 parties and the debate commission have been blocking out any kind of competition since the beginning. And so the convoy protest is taking place in every single city we can identify. And Colorado is already way ahead of the curve. We have organizers in every city across the Front Range, from Trinidad, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Parker, Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, all the way out to Rifle and Garfield County out in that direction, and some over in eastern Colorado too. We just got Sterling. So I'm really excited for the amount of participation we already have, but we just got started probably 2 weeks ago, and we only have a few weeks left before August the 8th rolls around, because we need to get this in before, of course, the debates take place. And so I wanted to share some information with the party and with as many interested individuals as possible. So in order to volunteer to participate in your county, or to find out if there's already a convoy taking place there, you can go to electjoe.com. And there's a database that's been set up there for convoy matching or protest matching. So it'll match you to the local resources or the local individuals who are also interested. We also have an opportunity to sign up and get involved. Anybody who isn't already involved in a convoy, or if your area doesn't already have one, as the state coordinator, it's my job to get as many out there as possible. And I'd love to work with you and help you every step of the way to get that protest planned. It's a packaged event, so all the information is already there for you, step-by-step instructions. It's pretty easy to figure out, but if there's any hiccups, I'm here to help. I'm helping somebody now with Google Maps for the Parker one, redoing their route. So a lot of opportunity. We're really going to make a big noise and get past that mainstream media and get Joe onto the debate stage. That is our number one goal, and I'm really excited for that. So thank you so much for those few minutes to talk about it, Victoria.
Please repeat that website one more time.
Of course. Elect, ELECT, Joe.com. electjoe.com.
Joe.com for those who didn't hear it, electjoe.com. Thank you very much, Jim, for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
did anybody want to say any? Mr. Gilbranson, go ahead.
Yes, I have handed out a few handouts here. One will support what Mr. Wiley was talking about. Is have a quick sheet on the Let Her Speak event. Let Her Speak is run by a group called People for Liberty. They are a separate organization. They're what is it, 501? Map is going to show you pinpoints of every event that's already set up throughout the nation. Last time, I think they're still trying to get caught up with what's going on because it is happening very rapidly. Their first one we saw was Mr. Wiley's event in Pueblo. It's on the calendar. There's an event in Lone Tree. There's an event in Parker. There's an event in Denver. There's an event in Rifle so far. There's no reason why there shouldn't be an event in every small town, city of any size in the state of Colorado. It's so simple to do. It's a turnkey deal. Just go sign up and put on your event. I don't care if you've got 2 or 3 cars, you've got a convoy, man. And you know, sometimes in the small towns, you're driving around Main Street in a small town, you're gonna be the front page news on that local newspaper. City of Denver, they may not even recognize that we exist. So there's no town too small. Along with that, I gave everybody a quick little Jorgensen-Cohen thing. We're looking for volunteers within state. We're looking for actually a replacement for me because Michelle and I will be doing a book tour September, October, November in the eastern United States, and we won't even be in the States, so that's not fair to the campaign. So if somebody wants to be a co-coordinator for a couple of months and then take it over completely from September on to election day, raise your hand, we'll get you going. We also want to try and get at least regional coordinators. It's not county coordinators, as many counties as we can. If you go to this Jorgensen, go20.com, the little buttons across the top, one of them says volunteer. And you put your name in, you're going to be in the database. We'll all have access to your information. And you're also going to get this while you're waiting for the campaign to do stuff. 11 things you can do right now. Don't wait for us to get a hold of you. It's very simple to do. I'm not going to read it all to you. Go20.com, volunteer. I don't know, maybe this is a good time to say something else. Is Eric online?
I don't know. I imagine he is.
Yes.
Yes,
Hey, it's kind of hard to hear Kevin, by the way.
it's hard to hear you. You need to come up.
Yeah.
On behalf of Arapahoe County, our monthly meetup is tomorrow at our place, as it has been in the past. Most of you, several of you, lots of you have been there. You know how to get there. If you need directions, I think it's in the Facebook event section. 6:30 to whenever, and food and beverage will be present. Would love to have you all come. On a personal note, from Michelle and I, if any of you, most of you are aware that we have been associated with Shotgun Willie's, Michelle, for over 35 years, and I since the last 8 years. There was a stabbing there on Friday night. 2 friends of ours were stabbed. One of them didn't live. The other one's still in the hospital. He's got severe abdominal injuries. They can't even close him up yet until they're sure he's cleaned out. The perpetrator was shot and killed by a security guard who was also stabbed, and another one of our valets was stabbed. The club is closed
until further notice. And we're all devastated. So that's all I got.
We are so sorry for your loss. Did anyone else have something to say? Michelle, would you? Oh, I could bring it to you. It's fine. That way they can hear you.
Just so everybody knows, I ran a campaign against somebody for an internal office. And anytime you do an anti-campaign, it is anti. I just want everybody to know that I fully support her run for House District seat. And I would never say anything against her run outside of this party. Internal offices are one thing, outside of the party, I'm behind anybody, whether I agree with what they say or not. I just want everybody to know that I support her.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay. All right, moving on with our agenda. If I can get this. We have affiliates report. Arapahoe already went. Do we have anybody from Boulder? Chafee is organizing a convoy as well in August 8th. I don't see them here. Delta, not here. Denver. Anyone from Denver on the Zoom call? Are you representing Denver? You want to give us news about Denver? Are they having a meeting tomorrow or something like that? Rhubarb, what's the address? It's RU bar or RU? ROO bar, what neighborhood?
It's just off 23rd Avenue and it's on the website.
On the website, 23rd Avenue. Okay, thank you. So tomorrow at 6:30, Denver County meetup. Douglas County, Mr. Harlos, if you wouldn't mind coming over here so we can hear you.
Yesterday, we had our quarterly road cleanup, had a good turnout. We had 12 people there. So we picked up a lot of trash, covered a lot of ground. We are also, as we talked about already, we're going to be doing a Joe Jorgensen rally, ride, and we're going to be starting in Parker. So if anybody wants to join us, we'd love to have you for that. Right now, I'm currently working on a debate for the Douglas County Commission. Victoria has already agreed to participate, as has George Teal. I've left 3 email just 2 phone messages for the Democrat candidate, and she has not yet responded. So it may just be George Teal and Victoria that are going to be debating. Right now, I'm struggling with a big. I don't know that the bar that has agreed to allow us will allow us to do it there because of the amount of people that most likely will show up. I'm working on the details of that right now. I'll bring everybody up to speed as soon as I have one.
Thank you. El Paso, anybody from El Paso?
We had our meeting.
Well, hang on, let's unmute you. Or just talking here.
El Paso had its meeting at Tilted Kilt last Thursday. Andy Pico was, who's running as Republican for HD16, was there. I'm the Libertarian running for HD16, so that was kind of fun. I did not speak. Jessica Peterson was there, and she was one of the people who responded for my request for CD5 candidates. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Pueblo? Oh, no, Jefferson comes first. Jefferson.
Yeah, we had our open meeting last Thursday. It was certainly successful. Kevin was our guest speaker and talked about the August 8th event. We're going to try to set something up for Poland for that. The other thing we have going on is we have a different venue and time for August. That's going to be Wednesday, third Wednesday instead of third Thursday, and it's going to be in conifer. At Thomas's house, he has an alpaca farm. So that should be pretty fun. We're also gonna have a fundraising auction. Well, on the RTV signatures that is wrapping up, I'll have a couple more small events on that. But that is almost done. I'm just getting the extra now at this point to make sure I have enough. So that's kind of where that is. And I should have a little bit more time after that's done, because that's bringing up a lot of time. But so that's good news that that's going to be done shortly. And that's about all we have going on right now.
Thank you very much. Mesa, oh, you had a question.
Is there any chance you guys can change the date of your meeting or the day? It's the same day
Oh,
as
yeah.
the past.
Well,
I could never get to it.
we are doing Wednesday next month, and then, yeah, I mean, we'll look into doing that, because even though they're kind of a long ways away, it's still, you still could have people want to go to those.
Great.
It's a little bit of fun. Yep.
Ms. Harless.
Close public comment, and I didn't get a chance to raise my hand. I was kind of distracted.
Could we hear it during your report, maybe?
I'm sorry?
Could we hear it during your report, or is it
It's
just
not.
public comment? Go ahead. But if you would come over here and
Yeah.
so we can hear you.
First of all, I wanted to say, Victoria, you did an excellent job as delegation chair. I saw the way you were running around, and it was crazy. So I really appreciate the job that you had done there. And I wasn't going to comment on the flyer that was passed around, not going to comment greatly on it. I just think as a party, we need to be better. And negative campaigning is bad, whether it's for inside the party or outside the party. And I would really encourage the involved parties to sit down and talk about whatever the issues are as adults. And I would ask the chair to facilitate that if all the parties are willing to, so that we don't bring this kind of shame on the LPCO. It brought a lot of shame on the LPCO. It didn't harm me, but it did harm the LPCO. And we got the reputation as the group that stripped naked on stage. Basically, there's always someone who acts up. And I want us to have the reputation as the shining example of an affiliate that we used to have. So I'm willing, I would ask the chair to try to coordinate some kind of peace, smoke the peace pipe or
Sure.
something, so that in the future, we don't do these things out in public in front of everybody. And in any campaign, I encourage us all, I never negative campaign. And in public office or an internal office, don't ever do that. It brings you down. You never put other people or bring yourself up by putting other people down. So I would hope the LPCO would commit to that, and it's behind us now, and let's get Joe, get some good numbers.
Thank you, Ms. Harless. Pueblo Otero. Mike, do we have maybe John Pickerel on the line?
Yes, we do.
Could we unmute him?
I did.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Thank you. We'll be holding our first in-person meeting since all the COVID craziness started tomorrow at 6:30 at the Senate Bar and Grill downtown. If anybody'd like to make it, we'll be discussing mostly local issues. There is a proposal by the Pueblo West Metro District for raising taxes for a new fire station. So there's a lot of people that are opposed to that, and we're expecting a pretty good turnout. Also, there will be a petition there. I was not aware of this until the petitioner approached me, but apparently to add fees to Tabor, which I think is an awesome idea since the state has been going around Tabor for a long time now. This proposal, if it was passed, would add fees as well as taxes, which, as we all know, are all taxes. And then, as Jim mentioned, on August 8th, we will be participating in the Let Her Speak rally. Convoy will be starting at the Rawlings Library at 10:30, I believe. Jim's shaking his head and giving me a thumbs up. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pickerel. on the agenda. I think we're done with our affiliate reports. LNC report, is there, Ms. Harless?
Briefly, I'm very pleased with the LNC that was elected. We had our first meeting last night. Yeah, it was last night. And it went smoother than anything a lot of us have seen in a long time. It does matter who's running the ship. And I have complete confidence in Mr. Bishop Henchman. And so far, I didn't vote for him, I'll honestly say, but everyone who did, you made a great choice. And I think there's going to be a lot of really, really good things done this term. So very, very confident, and I'll keep the board updated as to when there's other meetings you might be able to attend.
Thank you much. Has everyone read the minutes? Are there any oppositions to the minutes that were emailed by Mr. Spalding last week? Nope. Without any, we move on to officer reports. And chair goes first, so I get to talk. Yay. The national convention that we attended in person to ensure that there was online participation. This was a historic event where we had the votes done on both online and in person. I understand that there was one in 1980 with satellite participation as well for the LNC. But since I've been a member of the LNC, this was the LP, this has been the first time that we've had such a wonderful event. The Libertarian Party of Colorado needed to seat a few delegates. And the credentialing committee told me to not even try because it needed a 7/8 vote and there was no way we could get that. We got the 7/8 of a vote, the 7/8 approval, and we got all of our delegates seated. We also came back, at least I did, and several of the delegates that I spoke with. We came back revitalized. We came back with the idea of making the Libertarian Party of Colorado the example for the other states, to have the largest delegation in 2022, to have a full slate of candidates by then, to grow the party, to grow the message, to become examples and a shining star. We have a lot of new, young, fresh blood in the Libertarian Party, people who have the desire and the ability and that are young leaders that are wanting to step up now and work to make us better, to make us grow. And I would like to work with them. And I think my time might be coming up because it's only 3 minutes, but I am really excited to see what the future will hold. I would encourage anyone who participated online to donate to the Libertarian Party and the Libertarian Party of Colorado. You know, the ones that went there, we had to spend money on travel, on stay, on meals, on tickets as well. I mean, even though business is free to attend, it cost me $1,500 just to attend. Plus, yeah, our previous chairman of the LNC said, make it hurt when you donate something. Well, I made it hurt. I become a lifetime member. Here's my pen. I encourage everyone else who can to do the same, or at least become a member of the National LP. It gives us more delegate seats. It allows us more participation, especially right before when they go to count the votes before the next count. We'll probably know when that is. I thank everyone who participated from Colorado in the national convention, whether it was online or in person. You put those days of work into this, and I am so very proud of you, and thank you so much for all of your hard work. Vice Chair. Could you unmute Eric, please?
All right, excellent. So just two things I would like to add to my report. First one is a thank you and a shout out to the volunteers for the National Convention for 2020. They were able to get a lot done and make a lot happen. So thank you very much for making all that occur. Second part I'd like to add to my report is essentially just a public service announcement to anybody who's going to be doing the Let Her Speak convoy, anybody who's canvassing right now or circulating petitions. Make sure you've got your water. And if the sun is not your friend, absolutely get that sunscreen going, because we're coming up to the brightest and hottest month right now. We're starting to wind down on that a little bit, but we're still getting into the 90s and 100s. So make sure you take care of yourself when you're out there. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Mulder. Treasurer.
David Ankin and Mark Montoni carpool to Orlando. I was in that. Wow. You can got separated in both directions. We both got to the destinations close to the same time. I would recommend carpool.
We're having a hard time hearing him.
Oh, they couldn't hear you. All right, let's.
Yeah.
Did you unmute him? Can you unmute him?
Yeah, I can.
Thanks.
It's John, right?
John Hirschman.
Yes. Unmuted.
Okay. I was just going to say that Mark Montoni and David Ankin carpooled to Orlando. I was in one of the cars. Great. We didn't drive together both directions all the way, but we got where we were going at about the same time. And I would recommend carpooling to anybody because it's fun. That's it.
Thank you, Mr.
Alexander Hutton.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Victoria. I think you were muted. Nothing further to add to my report other than a hearty thanks to Miss Karen Ann Harlos and everybody else, tellers. I know we had a couple, at least one teller from Colorado, all the hard work that went into making that insane hybrid convention happen. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Then we have campaigns. I have a letter to read from campaigns. You wouldn't mind bearing with me for a second. I'm not very tech savvy. I had it up and then I put it down. All right, can everybody hear me? The campaigns director sent a letter to me and said, LPCO Board of Directors and members. Prior to the national convention, the chairman and I discussed what is best for the party. Moving forward, it was determined at that time that it was best for me to resign from the board. I feel that it's best course of action, as it has become clear that the way I choose to fight this battle is not necessarily one which is compatible with the party proper. I also found myself with an incredible number of roles due to our lack of a bench, which has caused certain duties to suffer. For that, I do apologize. Alan Heyman, John Jershman have kept up with important duties as I have actively worked on winnable campaigns and campaigns with serious implications. What I cannot apologize for is fighting false accusations. And I'm just reading this against our candidates and myself. I refuse to say nothing, as my county is looked at as nothing more than a chessboard with which to move obedient pieces around. I don't care much for folks who treat this party as nothing more than a bank with which to finance their partisan causes. We spend our national convention watching incompetence on full display and then the vote to give it another term. I can't say I trust the intentions of certain people. I'm not going to continue reading this. Well, no, I guess I should just finish it. Certain people involved deeply in the party and others who stand by at the periphery. We allow both groups to simultaneously run our organizations through direct involvement or by, I don't know this word, kowtowing, Kowtow, kowtowing. I don't know what it means to others whenever they don't fully agree with something which we, by large majority, fully agree with. Our constant pandering to assume liberty-leaning C-level politicos has severely damaged our identity. I'm not nearly a perfect person. I screw up constantly. I don't always make the right choices. But what I have always been about is finding ways for us to win. And he capitalized the word win. I will do something when lies are told at the viability of a campaign is on the line. It is not right to let people use this party as a playground. Political parties exist for one reason and one reason alone, to win elections. If you look at what has been going on in the state, everything has been going in a positive direction, through the hard work and advocacy of Miss Reynolds and myself, Colorado has one of the most talked about races in all libertarian circles. What has evaded us for nearly 2 decades? A win at the county level is right at our doorstep, and I take great pride in saying that the work I put in has been invaluable at getting us to this point. And if I were celebrating victory this November, I will absolutely claim my part of the win. I made sure to find professional campaign staff for this race because it was well aware of the implications in Lake County of 1,700 votes gets Hannah into office. I will also get people elected in 2022. We can turn a county gold with the right game plan. I know what I've done to get us there, and I'm well aware of what can happen. If we focus on what will happen if we decide to act like we typically do and ruin a good thing. The state party has a fantastic chairman and other great board members. We didn't get to this point by luck. It was calculated, worked, and evaluated. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. I trust the board to help carry Hannah to victory. I'd like to have a couple friends join her in county roles, but that is in your hands now. Best wishes, DG. That is his resignation. I have spoken with several people, Alan Heyman, Joe Johnson, among them, trying to get someone to fill the position of campaigns director interim until we can post it, advertise it, and get somebody in or ratify it next month. The people that I spoke with recommended a man by the name of Bruce Griffin. He is outside of the range of communication tonight, but he said that he would accept the position if offered, and that he would be here in August to be willing to take it over if he is ratified. I would like to ask the board to appoint Mr. Griffith as interim campaigns director. I think it's on the agenda further down. Yes, he is, since November of last year. We can verify that he is, but yeah, from the voter registration he sent me, it was November of last year. He is a registered libertarian. We could take that vote on the new business, I suppose. Or unless you guys want to do it now, it depends on you. I normally don't like making motions, but I move that we accept Mr. Griffith as interim director for campaigns. We can't have no campaigns director right at this moment. That is crucial in the campaigns year. Is there any opposed? can't even see my. There we go. Okay, is there a second to having Mr. Griffith be the, with the motion on the table, is there any opposed? If anybody on the Zoom call is opposed, would you raise your hand? I don't see any. Without opposition, we will appoint Mr. Bruce Griffith as interim campaigns director until August, when he can either be ratified or we get other applicants. Continuing on with our agenda. Outreach is open for elections. We had 4 people applied to the position. 3 of them were not Libertarian, or one of them was registered in Indiana, not here. They all thought it was a paid position except for one who is present here. Funkhauser, would you like to say a couple words? Without opposition from the board? Come over here so we can, so the people on Zoom can hear you.
Hi, everyone. My real name is Mark Cavan, but some of you, if we're friends online, Funkhauser, that's my name. So I didn't want my company to find me, but yeah, so kind of just stuck. Yeah, and I would gladly do this job. I think I can bring about good changes, really reach people. So I don't know how this process works, so if you give me the opportunity, I'll
Come over here and sit down for a minute. There might be some questions from the board. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Mark Cavan? Mr. Gershman?
Basic stuff like laptop or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A car.
Yep, yes, sir.
You can get to events and you have weekends off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Harless, you had a question? I thought you raised your hand. Mr. Gilbranson.
If it wouldn't be out of line as a prior outreach director for the state and current outreach director for Arapahoe County, have you actually read the job description, the party documents?
I mean, I went on the website and I didn't see anything, so.
You didn't see anything?
Yeah.
It's under bylaws.
I would just recommend that you find it, find it for him very quickly before you agree to accept the job, that you understand the job that you were about to accept. I agree with the 3 people that assumed this was a paid position because it's a lot of work, let me tell you. Maybe kind of lucky this year because it's not a good year for events, so you're probably not going to be terribly busy. It's kind of frustrating. We missed the opportunity we have in a normal year in 3 events in downtown Denver between Cinco de Mayo, People's Fair, and the other one that they weren't even going to have this year anyway. Between the two, Pride Fest, we would normally see about 1.5 million people walk by our booth. None of those events have happened. We are still on schedule to do the Chili Fest in Pueblo, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. Anything can happen, it can be canceled. The Delta County people still wanted to do the Apple Fest. There's no guarantee that that will happen. That's way over on the western side of the state. Just, make sure you know what you're asking for.
Yeah, no, it's I can do it.
Yep, he just read the position. Any other questions? Mr. Adam?
Yeah, so Mr. Gilbranson is a OG in the Libertarian Party, has tons of experience with the outreach director role. Now I ask Mr. Gilbranson if you would be helpful for advice to Mr. Cavan.
I can tell you that I think since I left, we've had 4 different outreach directors. I've offered my services to every one of them. The entire assets of the LPCO are sitting in a trailer that is donated by Mr. Hirschman next to you, and it's sitting in our property. Love to have somebody take it over that can just move that trailer somewhere else, but in the meantime, it's there. you know, you come out to the house and we'll review what's in the trailer, what you have as assets, physical assets to be able to do outreach events, and I'm eager at your disposal with any questions you may have.
Super. All right.
We're not doing anything tomorrow night. We're having Rat Happy there, and we'd be happy to show you what all there.
Fortunately, the Denver happy hour.
We'll catch you later.
So this position is not an interim position. It's been advertised for almost 2 months now. So if somebody would like to move to have Mr. Cavan take the role, do I have to make the motion? I'd like to make a motion to have Mr. Cavan take the role as outreach director. Is there a second? Are there any opposed to this motion? Oh wait, would you please unmute John Pickerel? He has a question. Unmute.
No, you beat me to the punch.
Yeah, sorry. Oh,
You beat me to the punch, Chairman. I was just.
Oh, you were gonna make the motion? All right.
That's all.
There's a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Mark Cavan as outreach director. Is there any opposed? If you are opposed, please raise your hand if you're online, or speak up if you're here. Any opposed other than Mark Cavan? It's too late for him to oppose. No? Okay, there is no, without opposition, the motion passes. This thing is too loud. Stay now here. You're the outreach director now. You can stay with the board. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you. Next up is agenda. Affiliates reports. Would you please unmute Steve? Steven, I think that's all he's in under.
Steven, I got it. Oh,
Can you hear me?
You have a
Yeah.
very loud echo in the back.
Okay, still there?
A little bit, but it's better. Go ahead.
Okay, Victoria and I attended the Chaffee County meeting, and they're off to a good start. I also attended the Jeffco and Douglas County meetings, and they were very well attended, which is good to see as we return to in-person meetings. And tomorrow I'll be at the Rap Happy Hour. That's about it.
Thank you so much. Legislative, Mr. Stapleton. Is he still here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't have anything other to add to my report or my resignation. Everybody has read what I had to say. That will be my final word on that. I appreciate Madam Chair for her statement on the social media portion. I hope that the Libertarian Party of Colorado can continue to put out a solidly libertarian message on social media, as well as its outreach events. And I hope that we can find a way to continue our issues and legislative activism in my absence. And should somebody step up to fill the position of legislative director, I will support their efforts and gladly help them out any way I can, even if it means serving on the Legislative Action Committee.
Mr. Stapleton, we have Mr. Hess on the Zoom call. He has agreed to be an interim director. If you would work with him, he would really appreciate it. Maybe we can unmute him and let him speak for a couple minutes. Do you know Matt Hess? Mike?
Yeah, I unmuted him.
No, Michael Stapleton.
Oh,
I was asking so Michael Stapleton, Mr. Hess is willing to do it. Could you work with him, please?
he muted himself. I need to unmute him.
Yes, I would support the nomination of Matt Hess as legislative director and support him in any efforts.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hess, would you like to say a few words?
Well, I'm definitely not the superhuman that Mr. Stapleton was at performing this task, but with my experience in the past with Principles of Liberty, I feel at least partially equipped to take on this role and possibly form a team towards accomplishing what Mr. Stapleton has done in the past and maybe build on that.
Thank you very much. Should we move to appoint Mr. Hess as an interim legislative director? Yes, Mr. Church. Is there a second? Are there any opposed or any questions that you'd like to ask of him before we do this appointment? Does anyone have any questions? There are no questions. Is there any opposition to his nomination? To his appointment, sorry. Without opposition, Mr. Hess is our new interim legislative director to be ratified next month. Thank you, Mr. Hess. Membership. Mr. Pickerel, would you please unmute Mr. Pickerel?
Yes.
Thank you.
Unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you now.
Okay. I'd like to reiterate Mike Stapleton's appreciation for the statement that the chairman made concerning the Facebook post. I'm already having to do damage control in Pueblo County. Based on that, there are people that usually attend my meeting and they're having second thoughts when they saw that. So I'm having to explain to them that that does not represent the Libertarian Party. So I was glad it was taken down right away, and me being able to go to them tomorrow and say, the first thing our chairman did at our board meeting was disavow that and explain that that was not authorized. So thank you for doing that. That makes my job much easier down in Pueblo. I also would like to, nothing to add to my report, but I would like to make a general statement. We've had, since my short time being on the board, we've had a lot of turnover on the board. We've are now on our third outreach director, our third communications director, our second fundraising director, our second legislative director, our third campaigns director. I think Steve Gallant and I are the only ones remaining that are original from the 2019 election, other than the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer.
Mr. Is original.
And I want to make sure that I like the tone this meeting is set. I think we need to end the factions that we have within the state party. I think I like the fact that we're trying to head in that direction and put things behind us and bear the hatchet. I'm alarmed that we have everything going on today that we have with COVID-19, and there's probably not an assault on liberty bigger than what we have today. The governor is coming out and telling us, mandating what we can and can't do without authority, I might add. There's nothing that justifies him being able to do that. And yet here we are infighting. So I'm hoping that we can take this tone and go forward and fight external enemies to liberty instead of fighting amongst ourselves. The Federal Reserve has created $6 trillion in new money for bailouts because of the COVID-19 lockdowns. They've destroyed businesses. Our First Amendment is being destroyed. We basically have been given a 3x5 card of allowable opinion. If we exercise beyond that, the political correct, please come and basically knock our door down, assault us in the streets. Our Second Amendment is under attack with the red flag bill, and I fear what the legislature will bring back in the next session. The warfare state is alive and well. We still have troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. I smell a mandatory vaccine coming on the horizon for the COVID-19. So I think we really need to focus our swords outward instead of inward. I think we need to all, before we decide to take upon our internal enemy, is vow, before we even think about doing that, to do one thing for liberty. Post a letter to the editor, recruit one person to the party, support a campaign, do these things before you even think of attacking somebody who you don't like on the inside. And then maybe you'll have second thoughts because you'd be too busy fighting the enemies of liberty instead of worrying about petty disagreements within. I hope we can take this attitude forward. I was really dismayed before the meeting, and Victoria, thank you very much for setting the tone going forward. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Communications, Mr. Baument. Anything to add to your report? You can.
I just want to add to Victoria's opening statement that the Libertarian Facebook pages are, for a lot in today's day and age, is a lot of people's first impressions when they go to look for a Libertarian. So let's just remember what we're saying to people who are maybe first hearing about us. That's all I have to add.
Thank you very much, Josh. Afterwards, secretary. Actually, there are allowed, but you're not on the board, so you can't ask. Unless the actually, with no opposition from the board, we'll hear from Mr. Schucknecht. Go ahead.
So in light of the people Facebook post, is there any permanent changes or any review of people who have access to that will prevent such a thing from happening in the future? Because it's obviously very bad PR. I see you're not a yes. So if there should be a brief explanation to the board and about what has been done.
So what has happened so far is that we removed that person from that one person, because it was only one person that was doing this, and it only started last week. This person has been posting on the Facebook page for over a year, and we never had an issue with him until recently. I guess he got very excited about his opinions that could have been better used on his own post. What we have done so far is Josh and I have spoken. We've also spoken with a former communications director that did a fantastic job keeping stuff straight. And with her training, we can actually, there's ways to monitor the posts before they go out so that this doesn't happen again. And it can be done on a weekly basis, or, because you can schedule the post way in advance. So she agreed to do a training for the volunteers and for the communications director so that we can make sure that this does not happen again. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, actually, I think that's a pretty viable solution. I didn't know that. So that's really cool that that's happening.
Thank you, Adam. Secretary, is there anything to add to his report? Anything you want to say?
Let's see. I mean, not really. I kind of briefly talked about the signature drive for RTV. I still need more. I have over 250, but a lot of them aren't going to be good. So that's what I'm doing now. About 290 gross. And I expect about 40% of them are going to be good.
Okay. So when are you doing the next one?
Next one is going to be all one on Friday and one on Saturday.
This coming Saturday, where?
It's gonna be the same location,
The Target on Sheridan.
Yeah.
So the Super Target on Sheridan, right off of Hampton
at 1 o'clock.
and Santa Fe at 1 o'clock. Ross is collecting signatures for his RTD campaign. Thank you, Ross.
Very close. So
Yep, you will get there. We have confidence in you. Thank you so much. Standing committee reports, if any. Technology, Mike, did you have anything to say?
No, I have nothing.
Database? I think you had a motion that you needed to make, or have somebody make a motion. You can do it. Would you unmute David Atkin?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
It's not letting me. There it goes.
Okay. The only thing I have to add is that I'd like all of the new board members and also the ones who haven't given me a biography and a picture to send those to me in the next week or so I can update our webpage. That's it. Welcome committee. Is Mark Montoni with us? He is not on the call, but I know that he did get another volunteer to help him with the welcome committee calls. Lisa, I forgot her last name, but he's got another volunteer on his committee, so that's pretty good. Campaigns committee. Is Alan on the line, or John, maybe you could talk about the vacancies. Actually, let's just go over down to vacancy committee report. Was there anything on the vacancies?
I wasn't prepared to do that, but yeah, there was a list that Alan emailed. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
He needs to move closer.
The vacancies that we have are Judicial District 2, District Attorney, District Attorney for Judicial District 4, House District 3, House District 24, House District 34, House District 38, House District 55, House District 60, Senate District 28, and Elbert County Commissioner. And I think we have until sometime in August to do this, right?
Right. I know that Alan also was sending out a bunch of emails to people off of the CRM to
Yeah, I don't know if he
to
did
get
that,
those
but
vacancies
I know he
done.
was doing it.
I know he must have, because people have been emailing me about him. So, and I've been forwarding them to him because he said to contact state chair for some reason. Okay. Then we have existing business. That was it. New business. We've done that. We've done that. We've done that. Need motion to purchase voter file from SOS effective 7/31 for $50. It is a spending motion. It's on my agenda. Did somebody want to make that motion? Is there a second? Any opposed? Without opposition, the motion passes. Now, we do have an announcement that I forgot to make during my board report. And that was that we are having a candidate training, Liberty Fest, board election, everything combination. We don't know what to call it. August 29th. And a rally for Joe Jorgensen if she still can make it. I don't know if she still can make it, Mr. Goldbranson.
We really can't speak to Jorgensen's availability.
Okay, so she has yet to confirm, okay? But we're hoping that to have her come out and do that. It would be a fundraising event and candidate training. It will have board elections on it. And we're looking at the end of August for this. We still have to find if the state will allow us to have a location to meet because everything is changing so terribly much. So as of now, we're planning on August 29th, where we would have speakers training for candidates and board elections, as well as electing our electors. So that's the only announcement I have. More will come out on the website as soon as we know about it. I think we're done. So does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? Oh, we want to stay here. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? I think we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
You're slipping, Madam Chairman.